The royal penis is clean, Your Highness.
I remember a guy came to one of my seminars maybe 2 years ago, and he went out one of the evenings, and the next day when I was asking for feedback and, like, what'd you learn and what happened, and this guy raised his hand. This guy was probably, he was average looking, probably 45 or 50 years old, and he said, the big aha for me was I went to a populated place, it was actually here in LA, and he walked up to an attractive woman and he said, "Hi, I'm just out walking around meeting people tonight. How you doing?"
Right.
And the woman responded positively to him, and he started a conversation with her. And he said he couldn't imagine in his whole life that it could be that easy.
Exactly.
Is to literally just walk up and say, "I'm out meeting people tonight."
Right. And every night every time you go out, you start off at zero again. And even me, I really have had ridiculous amount of success. But I'll go out and I'll go to that club and I'll get in there and my heart clenches up when I see that group that I want to talk to, and it freezes, and I just have to, give yourself a mental kick in the pants and go in there and open your mouth, because I've probably approached well over 1,000, women and groups of people, maybe over 2,000, and never once has anyone been mean or cruel or hurt me or shot me down. The worst that's happened is maybe I don't engage them. And one secret, guys, here's a secret. A lot of people, and I'm a big fan of, memorizing cool, fun games and things to say and do because it's worked for me. But, there's nothing magic you say, but one secret is when you approach a group, especially in a night spot situation, is to come in with equal energy or slightly higher than what they're having right now. If you're coming in with lower energy than theirs is, they're not going to respond to you because you're going to make them have less fun than they're currently having rather than more.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. And the way that a lot of guys have pre-scripted openers, and I've probably made up a lot of the ones people like to use. But every night I'm out, I'm talking with my friends, we have a question we don't know the answer to. I'll stop talking about it, and it's a great way to start the conversations. Like the other night, we were trying to figure out, there's 7 continents, right? And do you know how many oceans there are?
No. 6?
I think there are 5.
5?
So you're already fired.
Damn it.
Some say there are 4, I don't know, but we couldn't figure out what the 5th ocean was. And I actually still don't know. So it's been our goal when we go out to try and find out what the 5th ocean is. And it's so stupid that if it comes from a genuine place of curiosity, it will start a conversation anywhere.
So what do you think prevents guys, what are guys doing in their heads now that you have a lot of experience?
Right.
What are they doing in their heads and in their emotions that stop them from even taking the first step? What are the games they're playing?
Right. Well, I think there are 2 games they play. The one is they're imagining the most negative scenario is going to happen. So they're imagining the most negative scenario possible, and then they're not going to approach in case that super negative scenario happens. That's one. The second one is they're thinking too much. Here's one reason why I got good at this is I prepare to go out into the field, as they call it,
Yeah.
into the bars and clubs,
Yeah.
the same way I prepare for an interview, which is before I do an interview, I write down all the questions I can possibly think of for this musician. Everything I can think of, I listen to their records, I read their lyrics, I read every interview they've ever done, I fold up, write pages and pages of questions. And I sit there and I study the questions nonstop. Then before I go into the interview, I fold up the paper, I put it in my back pocket, and I never look at it again. Because then it's time to free flow, time to have a real conversation. And I'm going to know all the salient points and things to do. And I do the same thing when I go out in the field, which is I write down all the things I want to talk about, all the things I want to do, the energy, the attitude I want to have, every point, the way I want to kiss her. I write it all down. That's the way I think. Put it on a piece of paper, study it, fold it up, put it in my back pocket, go out and never look at it again.
But you know it's there if you need it.
Yeah, I know it's there, and if I get stuck, I know where to go. Say if I get stuck, the conversation stales out, I say, I'll tell them a Snapple fun fact. Snapple fun facts are great ways to start conversations. Like, did you know that chewing gum while chopping onions actually prevents you from crying?
No, I didn't know that.
And the average woman consumes, I think, 7 pounds of lipstick in her lifetime. Actually digest it.
Consumes?
Exactly.
What color?
Exactly. I just assume it's a burnished red. But I love information, and every little piece of information I find, I use and I mention because, it could be something like that, or I'm stuck and I can't figure out how to break that barrier to kiss her. Well, I've got ways to do that, and they're in my back pocket and in my mind now. So once you go out, you've got to free flow and not think. So you were saying the mistakes guys make. One mistake they make, and I know you know this, is thinking too much. You can't, once you're out there, you can't think. You have to respond and be in the moment.